Jamar Perkins. It's crunch time. It's crunch time here live in the studios of Austin Peay. Zach Peay, joined as always by Reese Britt and Jamar Perkins. Guys, we're live from Clarksville, Tennessee. It's great to be here at Austin Peay. It might be a rainy day outside, but it's beautiful weather in here, and it's just another chance for us to get a chance to do this show. I'm so happy to have this opportunity with you guys one more season. Jamar, you and I we're on our last hurrah here, so that's good. But as I like to start the show always, I like to ask you guys how the break's been, and in general, how you're liking for your new semester. So, guys, this is how this question's go. How was your break? How's the semester started out for you? What's new? Let's start with you, Reese. What's new with you? How's everything going?
Oh, it's going good. Glad to be back with you guys. This is one thing I've missed over break, and just excited to start season 6. But first and foremost, break, good, relaxing. Did a lot of watching of the TV.
Right.
Did that. Played a lot of golf as well. Got in the gym too to keep up with what we've got going on this upcoming semester with golf. And then Saturday, we start our golf season. So we play Murray State at Hopkinsville Country Club. Yeah, we're going to try. We're all playing well. We're all playing really well right now. So we're excited, and I'm excited. And we're going to have a busy spring. We got 7 tournaments. So
well, I'm happy to have you for all Wednesdays. I will say that. That is something I know you and I talked about, and I'm happy to have you. Jamar, how's it going? What's
doing
new?
Good. I mean, covering the women's basketball team, got that gig going on. Just came off of a road trip in Kentucky, took down Bellarmine in Eastern Kentucky. Couldn't be happier, man. Working. Feel like I got about 3 jobs, but
Wife good?
Life's good.
That's
Life
good.
is good.
That's awesome. It's great
good,
to hear.
Man. How about you, Zach?
Everything's been going good, man. Trying to prep for this last semester and this last hurrah has been interesting. I've gotten to watch some great games, some games that were very disappointing. I'm happy that I got my Super Bowl pick half right. That was good because I did pick the Eagles to go. So we'll talk about that later. And I've been able to watch a lot of WWE wrestling. I love WWE. We've talked about this on and off air, and I got to see some good stuff recently. So I've been enjoying that too.
This isn't in the script.
No, it's not.
Cody Rhodes shouldn't have won the Royal Rumble.
No, he should have won the Royal Rumble. You're
should have
crazy.
been The Rock. The Rock should have came out.
The Rock.
But anyways,
The Rock doesn't deserve it.
I'm gonna go ahead and transition to this.
Yeah,
Austin Peay men's basketball.
Let's go for it.
Something we've been looking at when you talk about them. They lost Saturday, 1 point against Queens.
Yeah.
Saw the buzzer beater. I looked at the box score. I was calling our women's game. This is Saturday, so I was calling against Eastern Kentucky. I looked at it. I'm looking at this box score, and it says 3-point shot made with 0 seconds left, and I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, Austin Peay men's just lost by a buzzer beater. And then I saw the clip later, and it hurts, man. I mean, it hurts for this Austin Peay men's team. They're struggling right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're last in the conference with 2-10 conference record and an 8-17 record overall. They look to bounce back this season against North Alabama on the road this Thursday, but the way they've been playing, it's been a disappointing season so far for the men's basketball team. As we expected them to be good, and I know you've probably got some more on this too. As well.
I'll pose a question to you guys. Give me the date of their last win, in conference or out of conference. Does not matter. Their last win on the schedule. Give me a date.
I'll send that to Jamar because I don't know.
It was against Central Arkansas.
Yep. That was my next question. You got the team right.
It was Central, so I'm gonna say
they beat Central at home.
January 14th, something like that. January 12th.
Yeah, it had to be second week of January.
It was at home, first week of January, January 7th.
Huh.
It has been just over 1 day over a month since the guys have gotten their last victory. It was in conference, but that's almost beside the point.
They've lost 12 out of their last 14.
That's rough, and they had a bright future.
And you look at you talk about the start of their season. They came when they lost to Queens, and then I believe after that, I'm going to double check the schedule here. They lost to Queens, and that was a game where they could have won.
Right.
And then after that, they ended up losing to another conference opponent.
North
that
Florida.
was North Florida.
Yeah, they lost.
Florida.
They had to go on the road to North Florida. So
and I'm talking about it was like 2 minutes left. They had the game and then just kind of blew it. And then you talk about they won after that.
After that, they came back.
Winning streak, right?
Yeah, they won against Florida Gulf Coast, which is up there.
I think on the women's side for the team, the women's team, that's first place team.
Yeah.
So I mean, Florida Gulf Coast has a great organization in general.
And then they had a 2-game winning streak right there, and then that's when they beat Central Arkansas the week after or 2 days after.
And speaking about the women's basketball, I feel like that's a great transition. Is like I said, the men's play on Thursday against North Alabama. The time for that game, I believe, is what 7:45. Okay, usually sometimes around 7:30, 7:77, something like that. So that's a good thing to know. But for the women's basketball team, they won this past Saturday, 82-69 against Eastern Kentucky Colonels. That was the second win of a 2-game road trip in Kentucky, which is a great thing as well. And the Govs have won their last 3 games and are undefeated on Saturday so far this season. Jamar, you and I have had a chance to cover them. Obviously, you're getting a chance to travel with the team. Jamar, I'm not even gonna segue like I usually do with this. Just tell me in general what is going on with the magic of the women's basketball team here for the women Governors.
It's an older team. So when you talk about Coach Young, yes, this is her second season, which she is a great coach. Just seeing what she's done, she's 1 win away. She's already tied it, but 1 more win, she'll be the winningest head coach as far as the first 2 seasons in Austin Peay history.
Yeah.
That was done in like the 80-81 season.
Yeah.
So you talk about Coach Young now. I mean, and I talked to her about it, and it's kind of just, I mean, it's just work. She's put in work. You talk about her. I mean, another thing, too, not to get too in the drama side of it, she's lost 2 assistant coaches this year. So man. You talk about losing coaching staff. You maybe not playing with the roster she thought she was going to have with injuries. But just a great job.
To still be performing at this level in D1 basketball in a 3-way tie for second after losing coaches, that's remarkable.
She's done in general. A great job. You talk about this team. I mean, it's newcomers. You talk about the way their offense is playing, too. We had 6 players scoring double digits against Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just looking at that and seeing how they're executing and playing, I mean, it's just a great team. I'm really excited for this week because I think they're going to go ahead and make it another 5-game win streak, go next Thursday. I think they're going to make it 6, but that tough game is against FGCU next Saturday. I'm going to be locked in on that one. Of course, I'll be on the sideline, but that's the one I'm a little worried about. But other than that, Osby's been playing great.
I mean, they have been playing great. They have been, and I agree with you. I think the FGCU game is really the biggest one they have to really circle on their schedule right now. Other than that, I mean, it's come down to forward play under the basket. You know, Shamari Tankel was doing great, and then Gabby Zapata-Smalls this past weekend in Kentucky stepped up offensively. We talked about that on and off air as well throughout this time about how Gabby showed great prowess on defense, but the fouling was keeping her out to be able to do offensive plays, and just in general, she wasn't getting a chance to develop under the basket. Now it's a completely different team and a completely different game when you got both those players working, right? So I hope so much for them this week against, like I said, against North Florida this Thursday, and then we got another game Saturday as well. But you can catch those live on 91.9 FM, WAPX FM, with you and I going at home games and Jamar at the away games.
And I'll tell you what, we need to get a crowd out for these home games.
Oh,
these
man,
girls are
especially
at home,
for this women's
team.
team.
They deserve this. I mean, they have played such great basketball all season. And, you know, whenever I venture over there to a girls' game and then I venture over there to a guys' game. Completely different. And there's
especially for a team that's losing.
Exactly. And that's what we need to get people there for the girls' game. Like I said, they deserve it. They need
really
people. Yeah, they need people supporting them.
And I'll close with this if we want to transition after this. I do want to say this. Coach Young, I kind of talked to her about that, you know, having that fan experience and getting that. And she said something which is really true. She said, you talk about a men's game, like that's something, you know, you're just going to show up to that. You're a men's Division I college, you show up. Yeah. But the women have to earn it. And then, like, they have to earn that attendance.
And they have. And I was about to say, they have. I mean, we've had some good crowds. We have seen some good crowds, but there has not been a crowd that has been equivalent to what I've seen at a men's game here at Austin Peay. And so if you find yourself in Clarksville on a Thursday or Saturday this week, come out here and check these games out. I think Saturday's game is
1 o'clock.
Is a 1 o'clock tip-off, yeah. So we got to be here real early. I originally thought that was a 1.
I'm going to say this, too. The men were on a 7-game losing streak. The following game, they got their biggest attendance they've had all year.
Right. Wow. Right. No, you're right. No, you're right.
I will say, I think that was Military Appreciation Night, which some people probably came for that, obviously, instead of the basketball game.
I think it was the STEM night, I think.
We've had that, too. We've had a Military Appreciation Night as well, and we had a good crowd, but we didn't get as much as we want. We got to move on to the next segment, obviously, because we got a lot to cover here in a short time to do it. NBA standings and news. The NBA standings, as I've got them right now in the Western Conference, starting out with them first. The Nuggets are in first, Grizzlies are in second, Kings are in third, Clippers fourth, Suns are fifth, Mavericks are sixth. In seventh, I believe we've got the Warriors now. Pelicans are in eighth. Ninth is going to be the Timberwolves, and 10th, rounding out the top 10 is the Jazz. The Lakers currently sit at 25-30 on the season in the Western Conference. In the Eastern Conference, we've got the Celtics, the Bucks, the 76ers, Cleveland at 4, Brooklyn at 5 after that recent trade, the Heat at 6, the Knicks at 7, the Hawks at 8, Bulls at 9, and the Pacers rounding out the top 10 for the Eastern Conference. It's been an interesting time for the NBA. Obviously, the trade deadline is this Thursday. Kyrie Irving requests a trade from the Nets. Originally, there were hypothetical trades. Like literally an hour after I wrote this, he was traded to Dallas. which we saw some interesting things happen with that. We weren't sure whether or not, there was we didn't want to go to Dallas from Kyrie type thing. We've heard some interesting news, and you and I have talked about this, Jamar, off of air about Irving in general and having a bad media prowess. But with this being happening and this going down, with the trade deadline coming up February 9th, my first question I want to pose to you before we even talk about the standings: anybody else moving tomorrow? And do we see anybody go? I know KD was rumored to possibly leave in Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn will make a massive mistake if they get rid of KD. They're a playoff team right now, or have the potential to be a playoff team. Get rid of KD, that's stupid.
I don't think we'll see any huge trades. There is one player, Jay Crowder. He's with the Suns.
Yeah.
And they just had kind of elected not to play them because they've been trying to find a trade for him all year. It hasn't happened. So maybe they're going to move him, which I think he can definitely add to a championship team.
Didn't they get him from a trade, I want to say?
They got him from the Celtics.
Yeah.
In a trade.
Yeah, I was about to say. So that's the
I think
second time he's
was
bounced.
Was it not Malcolm Brogdon? I could be way off on that, but
I don't remember that. I just know that he was traded to the Phoenix Suns, if memory serves correctly. But Brogdon might have left.
Brogdon came from the Bucks.
The Bucks.
Yeah, that's what
right.
it was.
The Bucks,
Yeah. No, I just remember that he was traded.
No big trades though. I'm not seeing any
Okay.
coming.
So then, with no big trades happening, then my next question is how, with the way the standings shape up, right? Obviously, if we stopped right now, we'd have a very interesting playoff field, right?
Yeah.
So with the way the standings are laid out, we don't have any Lakers, no LeBron James, which we do have to give a shout out to the King. The King has officially eclipsed the point value. Reese, I think you've got some more on that.
Yeah, you got 30. Let's see what he's got right now. 38,390 points. So we put it up on our social media over his 20+ year career in the NBA. So, but interesting to note, we got to give him all the praise. He leads the NBA in all-time points. He's, in my opinion, the second best player to ever put ball to court. But
who's your first?
I second
Michael
that
Jordan.
statement.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
I second that.
I'll give
Jordan.
Michael Jordan number one. I want to give LeBron number two, but it's hard to give Kobe. It's hard not to give Kobe credit in the top three. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I know the man is no longer with us, and it's nobody's defending as much. But I got to take the precedent of Shaq. You just gonna skip over him like that? You're just gonna skip over him? Like really?
I'll give you top five.
Yeah, top five.
But I mean, look, when you play this long, you're obviously going to be considered one of the GOATs. So I will give LeBron James his credit. He's one of the greatest of all time to play the game.
Magic over Kobe.
Yeah, you could. You
I don't
really
know,
could.
you
Now
can't
I
say-
think
I don't
about
think you
that.
say Kobe's the-
No, yeah, he's not the best Laker. I will say that too. I think Kobe gets so much just because of what happened with Kobe. You know what I mean? I think that's why we give Kobe so much, and because Kobe could show up any
Mamba
night and be like,
mentality.
"I'm going
I was
to
gonna
drop
say,
60
he
on
was a
you right
killer,
now."
man.
Like,
I mean, that guy, he
walked
took it
up.
to another
Who was
level.
it? He walked up to. It was like, "You played a good game."
Iman Shumpert. Iman Shumpert.
Yeah.
He goes, you played a great game, fella.
That's
I
it.
was like,
That's a baller right there. Like I don't remember LeBron walking up to me and be like, "You played a good game, man." I don't remember anybody doing that from LeBron.
no.
I think the biggest trash talker is probably, I don't know. I just thought of the Wilt Chamberlain story. I don't know if you ever heard that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
yeah.
I'm gonna bring it's a little off a side comment, but y'all ever heard the story where it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar talked about how he was with Wilt Chamberlain in an elevator, and someone
No, I
came
ain't
in
heard-
and was
I've
like,
heard, but
"What's
I
the
can't-
weather like up there?" Wilt Chamberlain spit on the guy and said it's raining. Y'all never heard that story before?
I've
Y'all
never
ever
heard
heard
that story, but that is great.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
great,
But-
and adds to the player who he is.
I mean, we have a couple trash talking players. In
we
this
do,
league.
we do, we
It's-
do. I mean, what was it? Who's
Kevin
the guy?
Garnett was one
Who's
of
the guy
them.
that plays in Atlanta? I can't remember his
Trae
name.
Young.
Trae
Yeah,
Young.
he trash talks. I mean, we
He's
know he
just,
trash talks.
Madison Square Garden villain right there.
Yeah, he
John
is.
Morant, but
He
not for the right reason. I mean,
Yeah,
that guy.
Morant's trash talking other people. He ain't talking.
Yeah.
He ain't talking on the court. He's talking. Shannon Sharp's gonna mess him up
Right.
if he ain't careful.
Yeah. But I mean, interestingly, last night, the Lakers lost to Oklahoma City.
They did.
So
What?
Yeah, 133-130. So it's like, if
All right.
LeBron is doing a good job with what he has, but like it's
Okay,
not going
time out,
in the
time out,
right way.
Time out. When you say what he has, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jamar, about this.
Might have
We at one point considered this roster, like 2 or 3 years ago, when they were really forming it up, to be a superstar roster, right? Am I under this understanding of the pundits and everybody else who like claimed this up to be a superstar roster with who all was around him? Because he has names around him. It's not like he's not by himself.
He had names. Which, I mean, you talk about 2-3 years ago. I mean, about 3 years ago, he won the championship.
Right.
So, I mean, you talk about after that, they lost Rondo.
Yeah.
You talk about.
Rondo was helpful.
That he was
He was
big
so
key.
helpful.
And you talk about, like, losing. Now they don't have Caruso. They don't have a lot of players, they lost in free agency.
Kyle Kuzma. He played a huge role in that.
Yeah, no, you're right about
so,
that
like,
too, yeah.
This team, and to talk about him losing last night, that does nothing to tarnish that
No,
game.
absolutely
no,
not.
no,
Because he
not
still
at all.
played
Not at
good.
all. Right,
And you look at it too, man. I mean, he's just not playing. You talk about Anthony Davis. He's not a number 2 player on a championship team. He's not
No,
how he's
it's
playing right now. But
AD
he had a bad game though. His averages are still looking good. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to discredit him. But
Right. AD's biggest
They're
thing
gonna
has
need
always
him.
been he's been unhealthy. It's the health issue with AD that we've always wondered and we've questioned, we've talked about. And then I mean, what was it? You just talked about Russ dropped 27 or something the other night.
Russ
I mean,
dropped
that's better than what he was
27
dropping
last night,
last season a couple of games ago at 13 to 12 half the time. So
but I don't think we can sit here and say Russell Westbrook's the same player now as he was in OKC.
No.
I mean that is it's almost black and white.
And it makes you wonder what would have happened if Russ would have just stayed.
Oh.
Would the team be different? Would it have been different? I mean, because the Lakers obviously went through this old movement of getting some of the bigger name players that had kind of somewhat seemed like they were possibly past their prime, and we're putting them all on a team, right? That's another reason why we were talking about this team was going to be so big. They're 25-30 record right now. They're probably not making the playoffs. No offense to LeBron James and the Lakers for at any point at all this season, but I don't think they're making it.
You don't think they're making it this year?
Look, man, they're towards the bottom tier.
They're the 13th seed, but you got to think about it though. When you talk about the 10 seed, which is qualifying for the playing game,
right.
Only a half a game behind them.
True.
Or no,
true.
They're about 2.5 games behind.
True, but do you think that they're going to make it longevity with their health?
I mean,
right now, KD's healthy. Or not KD, sorry, AD is healthy. I don't know why I thought about KD for a second there. AD's healthy.
Yeah.
LeBron's healthy. We're not having any major issues with LeBron right now because LeBron towards the last part of the season last year was having some issues. Not a lot, but having a couple small minor tweaks and issues.
Yeah.
So do you think personally that they'll stay healthy for the rest of the season? If so, then I'll take back what I just said about them making the playoffs. Because if they stay healthy, that's a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs because they have experience.
I mean, as of right now, they're healthy. So you talk about Anthony Davis, of course, he's known for getting injured.
Right.
But
right.
I'm not gonna predict this injury. I don't want to do that.
Here's my question to you, Jamar, and then we gotta move into our next segments, right? Any teams right now that have shocked you so far in the NBA season? I mean, obviously, we knew Memphis was going to come out and ball out the way they balled out last season. We knew that was going to happen. We knew Denver was going to probably have a similar standpoint. We knew the Celtics were going to be up there. We knew the Bucks were going to be up there. Is there any other team that you're just kind of like?
That's the easy answer.
Right.
The Sacramento Kings have the exact same amount of wins they had last season. We haven't even hit the All-Star break yet. They have 30 wins right now.
You're right.
The half of the season. So 100%. They're the 3 seed. Got to be the Kings.
You think the Kings can make a long push in the end?
Nah,
I mean, obviously, we're watching. We're talking about playoff basketball really early.
I think they're one of those TV
earlier.
teams. I think they're one of those teams. When you talk about the Lakers making the playoff games, playing game, I see that you look at the 3 seed Kings versus the 7 seed Lakers. I'm picking the Lakers against the Kings.
I don't blame you there.
I want to ask you this, especially you, Jamar. Why do the Warriors always do this? Why do they do this?
I was waiting for a Warriors question to come your way. By the way, I just wanted to say that I was waiting for it.
They've done this the past, I know 2 years. It might be 3. They always struggle. They always struggle for the first half of the season, and then right as you get into the playoffs, Steph comes out. He looks like he's from another world. Klay Thompson gets healthy finally.
I will say, Klay.
What in the world is going on?
4 nights ago, I think, dropped like 40-something points on a team.
Two nights ago.
Yeah, like it was ridiculous. Like Klay's playing. It's not like they're not playing.
I'll say this to close. The NBA season, it's not a 100-meter dash. It's a marathon. So Curry's hurt right now, though. So you got to take that into account. He's been out this season. So
True. With Curry back, that team's deadly. Let's just be real about it. Yeah, Klay is able to kind of hem up the back end, but Golden State's not the same team without Steph on the court.
No,
I mean, I will admit that. Yeah, even a Curry at 20% can help that team out much better than no Curry at all, right? But moving on, I got some quick Major League Baseball news. It's going to be super fast, guys. Spring training's just around the corner. I think actually they report catchers and pitchers. I think report next week, if memory serves correctly, around the 14th to the 16th, of sometime around there. But with spring training just around the corner, 2 teams have made news on Monday. Earlier this week, the Mets owner Steve Cohen is under fire and shooting shots back as he was being questioned about the team's spending habits. For those that don't know, the Mets have spent a lot of money this offseason to build a team. They spent a lot of money last offseason to build a team. And you know what's funny? They spent a lot of money the offseason before to build a team. So with Coach Buck Showalter, they're not worried about spending money, right? Or with manager Buck Showalter.
I was about to say, we know Buck pretty well from his Oriole days,
yes,
right?
we do. And we know Buck likes to spend money. That's why he left.
Yeah.
That's why he left the Angelo family, which we'll be talking about the Angelo soon. But I love what Steve Cohen had to say. As he's under fire, he says, it's not my fault that you don't spend your money as an organization. I think that's a great response by an owner, but I do think that you got to look at the Mets a little bit because they have spent a lot of money that I'm pretty sure they don't have. To be honest. But they're currently coming over that. Major League Baseball's representatives are looking through all that, and he has the best response right now to any owner that has a problem with it. And then let's talk about the Angelos and the Baltimore Orioles,
Absolutely.
right? The Angelos have finally settled the lawsuit over their fortune and the team ownership of the Baltimore Orioles. The family's sons officially dropped the lawsuit on Monday. This is a result that the fans themselves wanted, not just the family members. Baltimore needs to stay in the city of Baltimore. The Orioles do not need to leave Baltimore. They've been a rumor for the past 5 years they're going to go to Nashville. They're not going to go to Nashville anymore. They're signed to Camden Yards till at least 2028, I believe. They're not leaving. But a great thing for the Baltimore Orioles organization as they are finally starting to catch some ground as a team to know that they'll be staying in that city. Yeah. It's the worst thing is as a player is to probably go through and think in a year I'm going to move, right? And
Absolutely.
Now if you're an organization, the worst thing is we're building something in the year we got to move. But moving on to our next stuff, does anybody else have anything for baseball before I get out? Obviously, I don't. I know that this was a quick segment, so it's just starting off. So.
The thing that comes to my mind is which we probably can get into that a little bit next week. But shout out the Govs baseball team.
Yeah,
they're starting next week. So
yeah.
So
they had
their
red-white scrimmage game a week ago. Actually, it was good.
They got Southern Illinois.
I'm happy that my car wasn't parked in the foul line that game. That was. But moving on, Super Bowl 57, gentlemen, we're here. We're here towards the end of the season of the NFL season, and you guys know as well as I do that this is my favorite thing to talk about. So I want to recap the NFL playoffs, what we liked, what we disliked, any big play moments, discuss the refs and the games because that's been a thing. But remember to pay attention to the script because we have to stay on the script about that, right? Because the script is what we all know about, right? Yeah. But let's talk about this. Recap the playoffs. Obviously, we know that it is going to be the Chiefs at the State Farm Stadium in Arizona, which, I mean, obviously Pat Mahomes has to be there for that, going against the Philadelphia Eagles. Where to start, guys? NFC. Yeah. Let's start with you. NFC playoffs. You got anything that you liked, disliked?
I mean,
wish that would have been different other than Washington making it. Obviously,
right? Yeah. I mean, I definitely would have wished Washington made it, but that's for another podcast. I mean, I could do
for another day.
Hour. Yeah, I could do an hour and a half thing on that. But
okay.
I thought the NFC side played out exactly how we thought. 49ers, Eagles down to the end.
Yeah.
And I know I picked the Eagles to make the Super Bowl.
Same.
I know you did as well.
Yeah.
So it was foreseeable how well they played during the season. And for them to, play as well as they did during the playoffs, we saw it coming. I mean, I don't know who didn't. So
Jalen Hurts is playing MVP caliber.
Absolutely.
Football.
Their offensive line is top one probably in the league right now.
If you could take any plays that happen on that side of the ball for NFC, right? Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you like, dislike, anything you question, anything that makes you wonder what if at all for that side of the playoffs? Anything at all?
What if the 49ers don't lose all their quarterbacks in a game?
That is true. Didn't think about that.
I mean, yeah,
dude, and they still played well with Josh Johnson in the game too, which was crazy as well. By the way, they didn't play bad.
Their
McCaffrey played well.
Yeah.
I think that he kind of put the team on his shoulders. I wouldn't say Josh.
That was the best trade San Fran did all year. Was get McCaffrey. McCaffrey was dying out in Carolina. Let's be honest with everybody here, and anybody who thought McCaffrey's season was done because of injuries, you've been proved wrong. Yeah. For all intents and purposes.
Yeah. Now watch, people are going to draft him number 1 in fantasy next year, and he's.
Well, I had him drafted at number 1, and he did great for me. I didn't win.
Maybe it's every other year for him.
Well, congrats.
Yeah. I know.
I didn't.
Thanks. I finished second in like every one of my leagues except for one. My big money league I failed in, but that's different. But so okay, Jamar, same question to you. I'm going to pose the same question to you for the NFC side of the football. Anything different in the playoffs? Were you bummed that Dallas didn't make it all the way? Was there something that you just didn't like? Was there something that stood out to you on the NFC side of the playoffs?
Well, like I talked about, I think it was really, that big quarterback thing. When you talk about
San Fran
not being able to see what Brock Purdy would have done. You talk about
I'd love to see him on a team
undefeated.
I really would.
So let me ask you this question: if we have the time,
we got a minute or two.
Both of you guys, 49er situation. Where do y'all see that going?
Garoppolo's gone. Okay. Trey Lance will stay. Purdy will probably stay as backup for right now. I think that's how that goes.
So no Trey Lance to the Titans. I know that's been rumored.
Dude, if they get Trey Lance, that's ridiculous. Why'd you draft Malik?
Yeah.
Why'd you draft Malik Willis if you're going to do that? I mean, at this point, your better chance if you're a Titans fan is going to get a quarterback in the draft. That's your better chance right now if you're a Titans fan.
They're going to have to. Obviously they can pay the luxury tax, but they're going to have to restructure some contracts to try and get their.
Henry's getting restructured.
Yeah, they're like $26 million over the salary cap right now.
And that makes sense.
I heard. So. they're going to have to do something. I know they're going to cut Lewan. He's
Lewan's
gone, so that's going to clear up a little bit of space. But Trey Lance obviously is not on that big of a contract because he was just drafted 2 years ago.
Well, it's another chance too for the Titans to. It's another reason why John Robertson got fired. I mean, we obviously saw he could manage the contract game really well. Although the biggest reason he got fired is because A.J. Brown. Let's be honest. A.J. Brown is in the Super Bowl, and the Titans are not. And we all know that. Brown helped him. They were not the same team without that man this year. Let's be real. But that brings me into this AFC side of the ball. The only thing that I didn't like, there's some questionable ref calls towards the end of the Kansas City game. We talked about that, the Kansas City Chiefs game with the Cincinnati Bengals. But in my opinion, the Bengals struggled the entire time they were in the playoffs. I mean, they struggled against a backup quarterback in round one with Baltimore with a good defense, right? And then round two, even though they played Buffalo really well and beat Buffalo, they still struggled against Buffalo. By the way, love that Josh Allen has now become the new Aaron Rodgers of the AFC. Just want to say that out loud for everybody to hear. And
Say
if
that
any
again?
Buffalo, he is the new Aaron Rodgers of the AFC.
Josh Allen, you said?
Yeah, he'll make the playoffs and he'll choke. That's what the Green Bay Packers do. That's what the Buffalo Bills have been doing. If any Bills fans have a problem with my statement, we'll go talk about Bills Mafia outside.
No take.
No, hey, don't do that.
They're
they've
going
got
to
the
go
Bills
to the
Mafia.
table, you know,
Yeah,
right. No, but moving on, guys. The NFC beat the AFC 35-33 in the first flag football Pro Bowl game. By the way, some players were unhappy, like Josh Jacobs, to talk about that as well. Many other players were happy about that. The dislike for the flag football game. Do you think that method will change next year?
I mean, I think they should get rid of it in total. Just
Really?
I honestly, I think that they should name people to a Pro Bowl roster, but maybe not play a game.
I think they should do it in the
any
middle of the year.
festivities. See, and I thought about that, but all of this is so statistical based.
Right. You get the
that-
All-Star game in baseball. You've got an All-Star game in
Right.
basketball. The Pro Bowl game makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to do it at the end of the season and replace all these types of players for injuries, right?
But
That's what doesn't make
people
sense to
still
me.
wouldn't play in the middle of the season because their teams would be like,
True,
we're not
true.
going to be liable for anything that
True.
you do away from a Titans jersey or
I
a
remember this
Commanders
game.
jersey.
I remember this game as a game that was supposed to be all the good players that didn't make the Super Bowl came and played their butts off because they wanted to prove they were a good player and they wanted to prove they were going to win. Then the game shifted in the mid-2000s to whatever it was before this one, and now it's this. This is bad. This is sad. There should not be a flag football game played for pro NFL players. At the end of the day, I don't like that. That's stupid. But I don't think it's going to change either. And I gotta hurry this up. So I'm going to ask you too. Do you think it's going to change?
Contact sports. I mean, like such football, just
Right.
making an all-star game, it just doesn't make sense. Make them play a Madden tournament or something.
That would be
I
nice.
actually would
I
like
still
that.
like the skills challenges. I think the skills challenge is the best part of the Pro Bowl. I think that's the coolest part because we got to see Derek Carr throw some shade,
Yeah, I see
which was
that.
great. Derek, man,
Adam
you've been an
Self.
accurate guy, but this season, but you haven't been as accurate. But you were just like the most accurate you've ever been inside the stadium. And he goes, "Guess I'm showing them what they're missing."
Derek Carr to the Saints. I'm not sure
Oh,
if I saw that today.
I saw that today too. I actually hope it happens. That'd be a good pick for the Saints. To be honest, Carr deserves to be on a good organization because the Raiders did not handle Carr really well. Last thing I got for you: KC versus the Eagles in the State Farm Arena. As of Monday, Philly was favored by 1.5 points over Kansas City. The Eagles will be the home team for this Super Bowl 57 game. The annual Madden simulation has the Eagles winning as well. I want to get your thoughts. I'm going to say this because I know both of you aren't going to be on the same side with me. The Eagles are playing MVP caliber football. Jalen Hurts is playing MVP caliber football. Vic and McNabb talked about how they want to be back on the field with this type of guy, which was cool to hear. I think the Eagles have all the momentum right now when it comes to the NFC. Sorry, I don't think the Chiefs have the defense that can handle them, and I think the Eagles defense can handle the Chiefs better on defensively. And I just don't think Mahomes is going to score 45 points. That's my opinion. The script that we got delivered to us from the NFL was
Straight from the NFL.
straight from the NFL.
Straight from Roger Goodell.
Straight from Roger
actually.
Goodell, yeah. We had to make sure that we got it right. The script that we got was 37-34. Eagles, Chiefs. I believe that's a doable score for both teams. Jamar, I want to start with you. We don't have much time. We're going to have a couple minutes left. Who do you got winning that game? I know you said you might not have a pick. If you don't
Mr.
pick, it's
Kelsey
fine.
wins.
Mr. Kelsey?
That's all I'm gonna say.
I like
That's
that.
a trick question.
I like
Or
that.
That's a trick answer.
I like that answer, though.
It's a trick
I like
answer.
that answer.
I'll let you pick.
Partner Reese?
Yeah, I'll just come out and say it. I'll take Chiefs. I just think if Patrick Mahomes could do what he did
Right.
2 weeks ago on that ankle injury, I think it was a high.
Oh, dude,
ankle.
whatever he took on that hit was ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. So if he could do what he did then,
Okay.
he's gonna play at an even better level because he's going to be healthy. And he shows up for these type of games. We've seen it over
Right,
and
he
over
does.
and over again.
And Andy Reid is
Yeah,
a coach. Let's
Andy
be real.
Reid
And he's had 2
is-
weeks to prepare. So,
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I got to say this, guys, thank you for doing this first episode with us. As always, it's a great time to be here with you guys. A real big thank you to Trey, Christian, Steve Sawyer, David Ellison, Doc V for allowing us to use these studios in Austin Peay here in Clarksville, Tennessee. It's been a great thing. Reminder that you can find us on Twitter and at Instagram at APSU CrunchTime. Once again, that's at APSU CrunchTime. You can find us on there to talk to us about all of these recaps. We'll be talking about the Super Bowl next week as well, recapping that game. Guys, it's great to have you back for Crunch Time, and we'll see all of you next week.